Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
It was a good day rain-wise for a lot of our viewing area. We're going to begin with the downpours during this afternoon's commute.
Yeah, let's get right to Adam Caskey for the latest. It's just been some good soaking rain, Adam.
Yeah, good soaking rain, nothing threatening, no hail with these tropical downpours. They typically don't even create hail, so that's not a threat, and even for the rest of the week. As for flash flooding, very unlikely, and actually really we're not expecting any this evening or even in the days ahead. This is very light rain. This couldn't cause flash flooding if it even tried. It's coming down so gently. So that's good. This is positive, good soaking rain it came basically from the Gulf coastline this afternoon. It has now spread into the hill country where we have it scattered about. Some moderate rain showers left over, but generally speaking, this is very light rain, and it's slowly starting to taper off a little bit. You see how the rain, particularly in Medina County here around Hondo, we had the yellows on the screen here just over the past hour, and now it's changing over to these light greens, indicating the basically dissipation of the rain. It's weakening, it's slowly dying out. And you even see that on the west side of San Antonio and Bexar County over the past hour, the yellows and oranges turning into light green. So this is slowly coming to an end, but we still have some pockets of rain and a little bit of dampness out there, particularly on the roadways. Now, speaking of the roadways, we have our drive cam out there, I-35 lower levels. And, you know, the roadway is probably a little damp, leftover dampness, but that's it. Stop and go. Lower levels not even flooded down there, which is good. And in these situations, whenever we have rain, I always say it's best to opt for the upper levels if you have an option. But this is a good situation where clearly the rain we had here, I-35 in the lower levels downtown, not interrupting the traffic. That should just be regular traffic flow and possibly even the impacts of, I believe, some construction in that area as well. But anyway, moving along slowly and some droplets on the windshield, but nothing significant to get in the way of the evening commute. Just ponding of water on the roadways, and now it's transitioning to the type of rain where it's difficult to find the right setting on your windshield wipers. You know what I mean? It's one, it's the other, it's one, it's the other. You can't find the happy medium, but that's what we're dealing with. And over the next few hours, this is going to be coming to an end, but we have more rain to talk about in the days ahead. I'll time that out for you and what to expect and when in just a bit.
Yeah, and you know, Adam, I think some of the upper levels along 35 are actually closed down.
Because of
construction.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So especially as you get towards Southtown and that area.
Yeah, which is contributing to this big backup here along 35. Let's take another look around town. Let's go to 410 at Blanco. You can see westbound traffic very heavy right now. Roads don't look too damp at this hour, but it is crowded out there. 410 on the main lanes as well as the access road.
2 weeks after the city's deadly flood, we now know the name of the 13th person who lost their life in those waters. This is 77-year-old Esther Chung. She's originally from South Korea.
During that June 12th flooding, Esther was among those 13 people killed who were caught in the current and swept away in their vehicles. We sat down with two of the people who knew Esther best. They're now remembering who she was and what she meant to them.
What was she like as a person to both of you?
She been lived the alternation her lifetime. She loves the beautiful clothes, beauty.
And tonight on the Night Beat, dealing with the loss of a loved one, how they're doing it in the moments leading up to that terrible day of the flood. It's tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
The city has launched an investigation, but we're going to get to that in a second. We do know there is also a funeral service planned for Esther coming up this week. For everything that we do know about the deadly flooding and all the developments that have happened since that morning, head to this article on KSAT.com. Meantime, the city is doing its own investigation to try to figure out why that flash flood was so deadly.
We've made an effort to map out what happened along Bidle Creek, where the majority of the victims were killed that morning, where their bodies were found. KSAT created this interactive map showing the deadly 1.5-mile stretch on northeast side where 11 people died.
Using information from the San Antonio Fire Department and Texas Task Force 1, you can see 15 cars were washed into the water.
You can also see the area where the San Antonio Fire Department pulled 10 people out of the water in early morning rescue operations and where some of the victims were recovered. To see this map for yourself, just look for the story on KSAT.com.
To a story that's developing right now, we're working to get more information about a grisly discovery this afternoon. A man's body was found floating in the San Antonio River.
Yeah, there's still a lot we don't know, but this is what we do know at this hour. The discovery made in the river right off of Villita Street, right next to Main Plaza. It's a popular spot in the downtown area. San Antonio police say a person walking by this area, it's actually not far from the Lock Bridge, if you know where that is, they actually saw the body.
We still don't know who that person is, how old they are, or how they died, or how long they might have been in the river. Police say there were no signs of any trauma on that person's body.
For weeks now, KSAT has been tracking this. Migrants detained outside immigration court in downtown San Antonio by ICE. While that continues, attorneys say they've been seeing a troubling shift. More migrants are starting to not show up, and more minors are now being detained.
You see those buses there? Most days, a white bus waits on Dolorosa Street. On rare occasions, it does leave empty, but more often, migrants whose cases are dismissed are taken into custody. Most are transferred to detention centers in Pearsall, Dilley, or Karnes County.
Tomorrow, a rally and march against these types of detainments will be taking place outside the immigration court. That starts at 8 a.m.
Meanwhile, at one of those South Texas detention facilities, accusations of subpar medical care, education, and living conditions inside.
The Dilley Family Residential Center, one of the largest immigration detainment centers. Tonight, KSAT investigates Daniela Ibarra, reveals what a lawsuit says it is like for the kids who are inside that complex.
This is as close as we can get to that facility here in Dilley. It's out here just past the fences. You might not even be able to see it at all. But this is where hundreds of immigrant families and their children are held while their cases are processed or while they wait to be deported. Earlier this month, attorneys with the Center for Human Rights filed a lawsuit describing conditions at different facilities around the country, including Dilley. Records show children at the facility describe only being allowed to go to school for an hour, which they say makes them sad. The lawsuit says families claim the food and water here makes kids sick, and they say they often find dead flies in their food. The filings also describe some of the medical issues kids have had. Records show a 9-month-old baby lost 8 pounds in 1 month, and a child with cancer missed an appointment during his detention. An attorney in San Antonio talked with us this morning about what her client has gone through.
One of our minor clients, who was just released with his mother from the Dilley detention facility late last week, had a chronic ear infection that went untreated despite the mother's consistent request for treatment for her son who was suffering while in detention.
We've reached out to ICE and the operators of this facility to see what their response is to the lawsuit. We'll let you know what we hear back. For KSAT Investigates, I'm Daniela Ibarra.
Like Daniela just said, we did reach out to ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. We have not heard back as of news time. We will keep you updated if they do respond to our requests.
He took him from me. He took life from me. That was my best friend. My lover, my enemy sometimes, but I loved him to death.
A woman grieving the loss of her boyfriend who was shot and killed. Now an arrest has been made in that case. According to arrest records, 34-year-old Gregory Cunningham Jr. has been arrested and charged with murder in this case. The shooting happened early Sunday morning at the Antioch Village Apartments on Upland Drive. That's where San Antonio police say 41-year-old Marquise Green was found dead on the ground with gunshot wounds. Witnesses say an argument led up to that shooting. Several people without a home to go to tonight after an early morning apartment fire. Those flames sparked about 3:30 this morning off of Highway 90 near Joint Base San Antonio Lackland. No one was seriously hurt here, but 11 people are now out of their homes for the time being. We also know that one firefighter was taken to a hospital to get checked out, but is expected to be okay. No word yet on exactly what started this fire.
We're a growing area. More and more people have been moving into the KSAT 12 viewing area. And with a bigger population comes the need for a larger first responder presence. Today, we were on site for the Bear Bowl Verde Fire Department groundbreaking ceremony. A new fire station will be located near Canyon Golf Road and East Borgfeld Drive. The department tells us they have about 65,000 residents to take care of, which is why a new facility is needed. That new station will replace a station built more than 50 years ago.
It is a brand new space for people in addiction recovery, but it's unique in one way. It is specifically for people in the LGBTQ plus community.
Our Courtney Friedman invited to sit in on a special recovery meeting where she saw how the new center offers love and comfort.
It's a safe, loving space where emotions, struggle, and gratitude flow freely.
We have work to do in relationships as in the rest of life.
We find ourselves in really hard times in which we're struggling, and it's nice to be reminded or surrounded by messages that say that love can flow with ease.
Being able to cultivate really loving, healthy relationships with other people in recovery has been such a gift for me.
This is a meeting at the Diversity Recovery Center, a brand new space for addiction recovery meetings, specifically for the LGBTQ plus community.
A person in recovery walks into a space. They're really scared, especially if they're new. So when you're LGBTQIA and you walk into this space, you start seeing that, oh, I'm home and I'm going to be safe here.
With 30 years of sobriety, Chris Crouch wanted to give back by bringing the Diversity Recovery Center to San Antonio. His goal was to make it different than any other LGBTQ plus recovery space. This is not just for 12-step meetings like Alcoholics Anonymous. It's for all types of recovery programs.
It's 12-step programs, Dharma Recovery, Rise Recovery, Smart Recovery, anything that has to do with addiction recovery, including trauma work.
And I can also see people that are here to have one-on-one meetings with their, spiritual mentors, congregating at the same time, and it's just really beautiful to see.
Diversity Recovery Center member Jonathan Garcia says it's an all-inclusive space for a community that is often not included.
Do you see the conversation changing when you're in a space where everyone around you is LGBTQ+?
Oh yeah, I feel a general sense of kinship to people that are in recovery in general, but when I'm with my LGBT brothers and sisters, we're family.
They hope that family will grow. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
To contact the Diversity Recovery Alliance, which oversees that center, you have to go to their website's contact section. We have a link to that on KSAT.com.
Happening tomorrow, KSAT Community and South Texas Blood and Tissue organizing a blood donor registration phone bank from 9 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. Representatives will be available to answer any questions you may have and help you register as a blood donor. If you're wondering what it all entails, how big are the needles, all of that, they can answer the question. We have more details about the blood donor registration drive on KSATcommunity.com.
It's a question people ask.
Yeah.
How big are the needles? Still to come here on the news at 6. Check this out. What is the Spurs Coyote doing with these dogs? Looks rough.
Yeah.
That was for you, Steve.
It's intimidating.
We'll explain right after the break.
All right, let's take a live look outside, though, right now with live cam. And like I said, still sprinkly out there. I think Adam put it best. It's hard to figure out what setting you should have on your wipers right now outside. His forecast coming up.
With her, she's loved from the very beginning. So as far as she's a little stuck up, but not with us.
And apparently not with the Spurs Coyote. Dog lovers from all over town filled the Gunn Family Coyote Dog Park over at the Rock at La Cantera this weekend.
It was for the Paws at the Park event hosted by the Spurs and their new partner, Pet Meds. Our own KSAT crew even got in on some of the fun.
Yeah, this is Ivy, along with our photojournalist Alexis Montalvo. And as you can see, they were both filled with joy at the Coyote Dog Park.
I love that picture. All the families who went to the party with their furry friends could do an agility run, as you saw there, and also get some pet care tips.
And apparently the Coyote stops by, who I think is the best mascot in all of professional sports.
So good.
Yeah, gotta love the Coyote.
Did they supply pooper scoopers and bags is my question.
Well, they probably have bags.
I bet they do.
They have probably have bags there.
Yeah. BYOB,
yeah.
maybe?
Bring your own bag.
Bring your own bag,
yeah.
right? I got you, Myra. We're on a roll this Monday, Myra. We're having a great Monday. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the radar and really just a very gentle rain, very light precipitation. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's just little drips and drops, and that's about it. And it's slowly diminishing and starting to die off. Not much to this, but hey, we'll take every drop we can get of this kind of beneficial light soaking rain. Just scattered across our area. Still some more moderate rain in parts of the hill country. Excuse me, didn't mean to move the map so quickly on you there. Parts of the hill country, particularly you get just north of Edwards County, and you see some of those, the yellows and oranges indicating some of the heavier showers, and even the reds from Kerr County on into Real and Edwards counties earlier. But even that activity is starting to fizzle out and slowly die off. Not a whole lot left over west of I-35 in terms of the moderate rain. Now it's just the light, gentle, soaking rain for most of us. And even a little bit of lightning and thunder far east. I mean, we're talking east of Hallettsville, closer to I-10. That's the only lightning and thunder. But this is all good, beneficial, light soaking rainfall. And you look at the rainfall totals I mentioned before. The bright green indicates a half inch, dark green, an inch of rain. The blues less than a half an inch. You see Bexar County and San Antonio. Right through the center part of the city, not much accumulation. In some neighborhoods completely getting missed, say around Alamo Heights and even near the zoo. But then you go to the far west side and around SeaWorld, all the way up almost to Helotes, and that's where we had higher accumulations on the order of an inch or more in some of these spots. We had just over an inch where you see that dark green. So some beneficial rain in parts of our area and a little bit over the recharge zone as well. Want to talk big picture. This is all part of some moisture and energy coming in from the Gulf, this deep tropical moisture that's being pushed northward. And this indicates the bright greens and kind of the whites on the screen really indicate the saturated air. Deep tropical moisture from the ground all the way up through our atmosphere here. Not the entire atmosphere, the troposphere to be technical, okay, if you want to get into up through about, say, 30,000 feet. And the saturated air really helps to give us that moisture to really wring out and give us those downpours. Now, the kind of downpours that don't give us hail and are highly unlikely to give us any flash flooding. Tomorrow, better odds. The deepest moisture is going to be along the Rio Grande. But then we get into Wednesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon, and the chances get back into San Antonio and surrounding areas. We're talking afternoon action. The typical time frame, generally speaking, from about 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Spotty, brief, heavy downpours, no hail, no flooding, but we're up to that 40% chance Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, a 20% chance. That may even be a little generous, to be honest with you. I think for the most part, 4th of July, just sunny and warm. Look at these temperatures from the rain. 70s. So often right now at this hour, we're still in the 90s. That's not the case. 70, 72 Bernie, 75 Castroville, 76 officially at the airport in town. And we start the day tomorrow at 73. An 86 at noon, 92 the high, a 20 to 30% chance of a few brief showers tomorrow afternoon. But again, a better chance as we get into Wednesday and Thursday during the afternoon hours. Notice the highs tomorrow, some upper 80s in the hill country. We're kicking off July a degree or two below average. In terms of the afternoon highs, morning lows are a different story. Morning lows will be well into the 70s, and that's a little warmer than average. But we get into the weekend, nothing but sunshine and warm conditions. Myra, this is that diurnal convection we love to talk about.
Yeah, diurnal convection.
You and Myra could talk about diurnal convection all night.
We could, and I'm so glad you clarified that atmosphere, troposphere.
Yeah, the troposphere.
I had questions.
Yeah.
Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere,
we got
exosphere.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't want to confuse anybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Didn't want to mislead, I should say.
So thorough. It's all you after this.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I know. I
don't know how to follow that.
All right, so he was a high school standout in San Antonio. Now he's a free agent, Larry.
Yeah, Jordan Clarkson went to Wagner High School along with Andre Robertson, two of the best to ever come out of Wagner High School. So the Utah Jazz and Jordan Clarkson have agreed to a buyout. So what does this mean for Jordan and the San Antonio Corinthians? They're all about developing their players and helping them move up and go on. Coming up. Jordan Clarkson and the Utah Jazz are parting ways as the two have agreed to a contract buyout. The former Wagner High School star was drafted by the Wizards with the 46th overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft and later traded to the Lakers on draft day. He played in LA for 4 seasons and spent about a season and a half with the Cavaliers before getting traded to the Jazz in December of 2019, where he spent the last 5.5 seasons. It's being reported that the Knicks have interest in Clarkson, who's averaging 16 points per game during his 11-year career. At 5 o'clock, we told you that the Dallas Wings traded Alyssa Smith to the Las Vegas Aces, along with the Aces 2027 first-round pick. Not long after that, Smith posted on X that she was sick to her stomach, she never saw this coming, and that she loves Dallas Nation. Then about 8 minutes after that post, she posted this. Another note, if she could have chose anywhere to go, it would have been Vegas, and she's excited for this new opportunity with her GOAT. A women's premier soccer league team lives right here in San Antonio. Corinthians FC competes in the Lone Star Conference of the WPSL and crams in 9 games in 1 month. While winning is valued, the club's long-term goal is to send players to college or the pros. Since its inception into the WPSL, Corinthians FC has produced 25 college players and 6 professional signings. Here's Mary Rominger on how local talent is fueling the team.
Hey Larry, yeah, the WPSL is a proving ground for talent with teams across the country from California to New York. But specifically here in the Alamo City, the Corinthians FC roster is a testament to the soccer culture in San Antonio, packed with homegrown talent, the area's top collegiate players, and complemented by its luring of international talent.
We want to be a team or a club that finds local talent, basically like the trampoline for young players to jump off and go into a higher level.
Take the South Side, for example, often overlooked but still producing gems like Diana Perez, a South San High School senior, newer to football, but already making an impact, scoring in her debut on Saturday.
To be honest, there's things that I do now that I did not think I would be able to do. If you ask freshman me where I am now, I would not believe you.
It doesn't stop there. Players are emerging across the region. Cameron Hutton is a Lytle High School alum turned Auburn star. And for Abigail and Annabelle Rodriguez, soccer is all they know.
It's just my dad and my sister and me, and so that's really how we formed our bonds. We're always working out, going to the gym, and we're just very passionate about playing. I've had a lot of teammates over the years go to Mexico, go play up in the next level.
They give dreams to a lot of us who are, younger. A lot of younger kids dream to going pro, and I feel like they have a path for that.
Well, there's no doubt Corinthians FC is a launch pad for local stars and beyond to chase their dreams. From the Corinthians practice facility, Mary Rominger, KSAT 12 Sports. Larry, back to you.
Thank you, Mary. United States goalkeeper Matt Freese came up big with 3 saves in a dramatic 4-3 shootout win against Costa Rica in yesterday's CONCACAF Gold Cup quarterfinal. During post, Freese said that penalties are his thing and that he studied them all week. The U.S. will next face Guatemala in the Gold Cup semis on Wednesday in St. Louis. It's their 17th Gold Cup semis appearance and 13th in a row.
That's, ending kicks. That's pretty dramatic.
Was really dramatic.
Yeah.
It was intense for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Larry.
Stormy weather can oftentimes come with damage, especially when it comes to hailstorms. And while we haven't seen a ton of hail recently, always a great idea to understand how your insurance can help in those situations. Adam Caskey has more for you coming up next on the news at 6.
Plus, how are you celebrating Independence Day? Lots of people headed out of town, but for those who are staying in San Antonio, there's a full list of parties to pick from. Take a look coming up at 6:30.
A lot of people in South Texas have made insurance claims because of hail. Kerrville had a hailstorm back in March, but the one in April of 2016 left a big, costly impression on many parts of San Antonio.
Yeah, remember that one. The storm cost about $2 billion in insurance claims. But do you know all the ins and outs of your homeowner's insurance policy? Adam Caskey, this is something that you wanted to highlight.
Yeah, I did. And, a lot of it actually started and stems back to when I helped my in-laws after Hurricane Ian.
I remember
realized,
that. Yeah, we went to Florida.
Yeah, talking to the adjusters there and how what's covered, what's not. And that's just for hurricanes. But of course, having insurance is one thing, but really understanding what's in the policy is another. So today we're taking a look at home insurance from a hail and hail damage standpoint. We even broke out El Cañon, the air cannon, to have a little fun and actually give you a demonstration. So take a look. This is your roof. This is your roof on hail. Any questions? This is the beatdown that can happen to your roof, one of the main parts of your house, time after time. Our South Texas weather's constantly impacting our houses. We have sun, wind, rain, but it's hail that causes the most damage, and it's the roof that takes the brunt of it. In a controlled environment and a safety plan in place, we teamed up with Cole Blevins of Rhino Roofers for a demonstration. It's air cannon time! Using homemade ice balls between 1 and 2.5 inches in diameter and air pressure up to 80 psi, we replicated what hail could do to a roof. 6 cameras, including a drone, captured it all. Now, I need to point out this is a non-scientific experiment, but super fun. Introducing El Cañon de Hailstone. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Time for a larger hailstone, and a hailstone that's more solid. Hail a little over 2 inches in diameter, about the size of an egg to slightly larger. Just under 80 psi. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Shot number 2. Scope it out. Oh! Yeah, I'm not a roofer, and I'd say we got some damage here. All right, Cole, what are we looking at here?
So you can see here that the hail, it's impacted the shingles, right? So what's going to happen over time is as it's exposed to more moisture, all these shingles are going to start to wash out, exposing the asphalt. Once that asphalt's exposed to the sun, you're going to have exposed fiberglass, and that fiberglass is going to act like a sponge. Anytime it comes into contact with any moisture, it's going to soak that moisture up, and eventually that moisture is going to work its way into your home.
And just think, hail did this to new shingles. An older roof, or one that's already beaten up, may not hold up as well and could be prone to leaks. The average cost of a new roof?
The majority of the homes in the San Antonio area, it probably is safe ballpark anywhere from $15,000 to maybe $22,000, just depending on the material.
Once the storms are over, it's time to dig out the insurance policy. Outside of flooding, Rich Johnson with the Insurance Council of Texas says,
your typical home policy is going to cover everything else. So that means any damage to the home. That's including any damage that's done inside if it was raining or hailing. And then, of course, your roof.
Off the bat, if you plan on filing a claim, you already know you have to pay the deductible. How much? Well, that depends on what is written into your policy. Johnson points out, be sure to know which deductible applies to your situation.
What people aren't usually used to is the difference in their deductibles. So some insurance companies will have a different deductible for your roof or for wind and hail damage versus like a fire. And that may be a different percentage of your home's value, or it might be a set amount.
Speaking of out-of-pocket costs, Johnson says there is a question you need to know the answer to.
Do you have actual replacement cost or actual cash value? Replacement cost, if you have replacement cost coverage, then your insurance company is going to cover the cost of that roof aside from your deductible. Whereas if you have actual cash value, you're going to get a depreciated value on that roof, and so more money could come out of pocket.
That depreciated value is partly determined by a series of questions. How old is the roof? When was the roof installed? What kind of shingles does it have? And what was the condition before the storm? The answers can affect how big or small the check is from the insurance company. Blevins and Johnson both say, if you think your roof has damage, have it inspected.
I would always recommend calling a roofer. Most people are going to offer you a free inspection, and I think that's a good place to start.
Get a roofing contractor to come out and a reputable roofer to come out and look at your home and estimate what replacement value would be.
And this is something that can be done before you have any damage. When reviewing your policy, Johnson advises, consider what your money situation looks like right now. He explains people sign up for a high deductible in order to get a lower premium, and sometimes forget that detail when it's time to renew the policy. But if your finances have changed and you can't handle a big deductible, you could end up in a rough situation.
When the worst happens and you have to replace a $20,000 roof, what percentage of that can you cover out of pocket is what you need to be looking at.
Besides having insurance, knowing what's covered can reduce some of the stress of getting repairs done so your home is ready to weather the next storm.
You should look at your policy at least twice a year to really know what's in that policy.
And you know, something else to monitor, the annual home appraisals, right? You have market value, you have also the county appraisal value. And if your value continually rises, it could exceed your insurance coverage that, we did that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But then the value's up and you never actually change the policy. So it's very important to double check and to talk to your agent.
Yeah, and when he said look at your coverage twice a year, who's actually looking at it twice a year, right? None of us are, but that's the idea of this, is to encourage people to know your policy, know what's covered.
Yeah, I mean, I went through it 2016. We had to do the roof, and I had to cut a pretty big check, but a lot of it was covered, but still had to do that. And, around here, it's only a matter of time till we get more hail and we get those types of storms, whether it's, months or years in the making. We tend to see them pop up on authority radar, and so just double checking in. When they automatically renew, you got to remember, how was that policy? What were your finances then, and what are they now?
Yeah.
And flooding is completely different. That is a completely different coverage. Even hurricane coverage doesn't cover flooding. So if you have a place at the coast, that is separate. You have to get that separately.
Yeah.
Don't assume flooding is covered necessarily.
And hope you don't run into Cañón de Hailstone.
Oh, that was so fun. We had a great morning doing that.
It's a shame you didn't have more fun doing this story.
Maybe you could do some crushed ice and shoot it into a margarita glass or something. I'm just trying to think of different ways you can work out.
Go on
I like this. A big old massive margarita.
Yeah, we can keep a series going there.
I've had one of your chispas before.
They're good.
They're powerful. Tomorrow, points to know regarding your auto insurance.
Yeah, auto's different.
I can't wait to see how we use the Cañón for that story. All right, we want you to stick around. We know America gearing up for the 4th of July, and if you're going to be traveling, we've got some things you're going to want to know about next after the break.
Well, a lot of people will soon be heading out of town for the 4th of July holiday. And if you are, you will have lots of company.
Yeah, AAA says a record-setting 72.2 million Americans expected to travel at least 50 miles from home over the holiday period. It runs through next Sunday, July 6th. AAA predicts nearly 62 million Americans will be hitting the road. That will also be a new record.
And nearly 6 million Americans are expected to fly, which would also be a new record for the holiday. If you're staying in San Antonio, though, there are plenty of ways to celebrate the 4th. The Stars and Stripes Parade on Houston Street will be back for a second year.
Market Square will host a 4th of July weekend of fun through July 6th, and there will be a fireworks show over the Alamo on the 4th.
That'll be cool.
And Woodlawn Lake Park is the city's traditional event, and it also takes place on the 4th, just to name a few things. There are lots of stuff that you can check out on our website, KSAT.com.
We've been taking an early look at the July 4th forecast for a while, Adam, and you can't argue with these temperatures and rain chances today, especially.
We're in the 70s right now. It's the end of June. Tomorrow is July, and we're in the 70s.
And at 5 o'clock, we drop down into the 70s. Of course, it's very humid outside, but really, 70s, 5, 6 p.m., San Antonio, June 30th. Yeah, amazing. So look at the radar over the past 3 hours. The rain has really simmered down and is coming to an end. But you see it was heavy at times, the first initial wave of it. And then now it's really starting to just slowly fall apart. No more lightning anywhere around our area, even up into the hill country. It's just lighter rain. And speaking of temperatures, we'll take a look back at June in terms of temperatures and precipitation. Because July, it starts tomorrow. And we do have more rain chances and opportunities over the next few days to get to in just a bit. All right, earlier I mentioned taking a look back at the month of June. Of course, not officially over with yet, but it's been a while since we've seen so many days in a month right near average. That's this gray color that you see, indicating, we're within a degree of the average high temperature, and even a few days below average. Now, still, as a whole, throughout the month, we are about 1.5 degrees above average, and that's because of the warm start that we had. The warmest was 98 on June 6th, or 9th, that was, I believe. And the rainfall, obviously, we had one big day on the 12th. Otherwise, we had little bits here and there, and this is at the airport, by the way. 7.47 inches, and that's more than 4 inches above average for this time of year. So we kick off July tomorrow. We start July with an average high of 94, and we're actually going to be right there, pretty much near to slightly below the average afternoon high. Average morning temperature is 74, but we're going to be above that for the most part the next several days. By the end of the month, that average afternoon high bumps up to 97, and that morning low is very similar. Now, on average, July gives us 2.41 inches of rain on average. That's just an average of the extremes. It can be from nothing to a tropical system bringing us a ton of rain to throw off that average. So don't expect that much. Now, going forward, 30% chance tomorrow, 40% chance Wednesday and Thursday. And these are in the afternoons, just like what we had yesterday, like what we had today. Roughly 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Some of those scattered downpours, not every neighborhood gets them, but the brief and heavy rain could bring a quick 1/2 inch to 1 inch of accumulation. Luckily, no hail or flooding with this type of pattern. So as we get into the 4th of July, we have that 20% chance, but that may even be a little too aggressive. Wouldn't surprise me if we get rid of that over the next couple of days. Generally looking dry. Sunny, mid-90s around San Antonio, low 90s as usual along the coast. And for the most part, we're just in the 90s. We're not talking triple digits, whereas in the past we have. In our warmest 4th of July, 2009, that was 103. Our coolest, I know it says coldest, I'm just going to call it the coolest, okay? 64 degrees, and that was back in 1924. And the most rain we've had was in 2003. We had nearly 2 inches of rainfall officially at the airport on that 4th of July. You look at the action out there right now, it has really fallen apart. Not much left to this activity. It's slowly winding down, and even the bright greens you see on the screen, that's not much. That's your windshield wipers on the very lowest setting is what that bright green is on the map. Big picture, this is all part of what was the tropical depression and brief tropical storm, but I don't really think it should have been a tropical storm. Anyway, they briefly gave it a name, but that doesn't matter. The point is the impact, and the impact doesn't change. It's saturated air, even some rain-making energy in the Western Gulf, scraping against Mexico and moving up into Texas here. And that saturated air, I think, will enhance our rain chances again by Wednesday and Thursday. That's why we have it back up to 40%. Tomorrow, a 20 to 30% chance, but higher odds along the Rio Grande. That's the key. Del Rio, Eagle Pass. You've got a better chance tomorrow than in and around San Antonio and Bexar County. We'll be in the low 90s. Start the day at 73, 92 in the afternoon. Del Rio 90, Carrizo Springs 90, Cotulla 89. I point out those areas because typically I'm saying they're in the, going to be in the triple digits. That's just not the case right now. Now, I do think we will dry out quite a bit, especially if not 4th of July thereafter into the weekend, and in turn a few degrees warmer, up to about 96, 97.
Not bad. Thanks, Adam.
We'll be right back. It's a free agent blitz.
Okay.
The Spurs make a signing early in free agency.
Yeah, Shams is reporting that the Spurs and center Luke Cornett have agreed to a 4-year deal. He is 29 years old, and he most recently wrapped up his best season in the NBA with the Boston Celtics. And as we were talking off camera, this guy is a true center. He doesn't shoot very many threes. He wants to be down in the paint scoring and blocking shots.
That's what they need, rebound scoring, rebound blocks.
Yeah, so we'll break down this deal a little more coming up on KSAT Sports Now.
KSAT Sports Now streams your way at 7 o'clock tonight. Also going to talk about some other guys that may be looking at, and Texas State with the big announcement today.
Yeah, Texas State will officially move to the new Pac-12 for the 2026-27 season. They got it in just in time before they had to pay $10 million to get out of the Sun Belt compared to just $5 they have to pay now. But the interesting thing about this, they're going to have to travel a long way to go to their games, a football team, volleyball team, whoever.
Yeah, and you're going to talk about the Spurs barbecue.
Yes, the Spurs barbecue with their rookies, including Dylan Harper. We're going to hear from him.
All right, KSAT Sports Now streams your way at 7. We'll be right back.
Bachelor in Paradise. It's that time of year. Get ready. And we have the Goldens. This is going to be good. Okay, zooming in here. You see how the rain is really starting to fizzle out and fade away. We'll look for any leftovers from the coast headed our way, but I really think this is it as this all simmers down. It was just some good soaking rain, but more opportunities in the days ahead, especially Wednesday and Thursday afternoon.
Thanks, Adam. And thanks for watching the news at 6.
See you at 10.